beautiful muses, and welcome back to Cosmo Muse Tarot, or welcome to if you haven't been here. This reading is going to be for the outlook and forecast and predictions for April of 2023. So we are going to pick the 4 piles from this I-Ching deck and take a look at those closely, and then you guys will choose your piles, and in the timestamps you will be able to skip forward to whichever pile is yours. Ooh, I'm feeling this one. So holding together is pile 1. And once I have all 4 out, I'll hold them up a little closer for a better view of it. Pile 2 is gathering together. Interesting, a lot of together things. Holding together, gathering together. Okay. Ooh, let's take the one that popped up. Pushing upward. And then one more for pile 4. Dispersing. Okay, let me pull these down a little for more space for these. Okay, so pile 1, holding together, it's hexagram 8, water above, earth below. Pile 2, gathering together, hexagram 45, lake above, earth below. And then pile 3, we have pushing upward, the 46th hexagram, earth above, wind below. I love how these have all connected, the holding together, gathering together, and then 45, 46. And then we have pile 4, hexagram 59, dispersing, wind above, water below. Okay, so these are our 4 piles for April 2023. For those of you that find the breath work that I do helpful, we'll jump into that now. If you have your own process, feel free to pause here and do that and then jump to your pile. Otherwise, we'll jump into a little bit of breath work. Okay, so place your feet firmly on the ground. Feel that solidity underneath. That feeling of being held and stable. And then take a deep breath into that, into your body, and anchoring down. And then exhale. And now we're going to take another deep breath in, and this time suck the oxygen up, up, up into the space between your brows. Hold it there for just a minute. Suck in a little bit more air to add tension and pressure. And then out loud, you're going to exhale it out, opening up your crown chakra. Okay, this is a breath work that hopefully got you anchored into your body and intuition, as well as opened up your higher and wider self, as well as inspiration from higher places. To ask the piles which one has your aligned message, which one feels anchored to you and magnetic to you. All right, if you need more time, you can pause here. Otherwise, I will see you in your piles. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your April reading. Wow, stumbling over my words here. You guys chose hexagram 8, which is holding together, water above, earth below. And I love the waterfall on this. It feels really, I don't know, sort of invigorating. Like all the channels kind of flowing in towards each other, towards one source, which holds some keys to what I'm going to say about this card. But let me give a little overview first about this. So this card that you chose is sort of like the main sort of environmental, external sort of influences on your month. You could call it like the agenda of April, imposing upon your and trying to draw your time, energy, and growth towards something. So sort of the universe's agenda for you. We'll then look at where your agenda is coming from and see how these might be able to work together. And then we'll look at sort of like a spirit guide or a priestess of light guide for you for this month as well. And then we'll get into these lower ones. So this is the only card I've looked at. So from outside of you in April in general, the universe is trying to push you to grow and learn through being involved in teamwork or collaborations or anything where it's sort of like more collective energy really all needs to get on the same page and focus their intentions, efforts, goals toward one specific thing, towards one specific unified target, aim, goal. And because this season has a lot of Aries energy involved in it, these types of things, so if you think about a sports team, there's always like a leader of the group. So in football, it might be the quarterback, or in basketball, it might be, I don't know basketball, but I think there's usually someone within the team that tends to kind of take on that lead role because they have a certain bravery, a single pointed focus, and a real knowing of how to unify and motivate. And I definitely am getting the sense, because of the astrological influences involved here, that the universe is wanting you to grow through maybe stepping into that role, or really paying attention if that doesn't resonate to you, and you, if that kind of energy is like coming into your environment, but you would be more comfortable more as a team player than the leader, acting as that cohesive force and motivating force. There's something about maybe really particularly paying attention to whoever does take the lead, watching how they move, watching their energy, how they function. There's just something I think the universe is really wanting you to understand about this kind of energy within a collective focus, that lead energy within a collective focus. So whether it's you being pushed into stepping into that, or maybe you're very willing and eager to step into that, or maybe it's just something you need to observe and witness to start kind of planting the seeds about that sort of thing. Or maybe you're someone that naturally steps into that but needs to learn a lot about listening and really knowing how to make cohesion rather than sort of aggressively kind of forcing everyone where you want to go type of thing. That's an Aries energy, so I could see that for maybe some people, of like the universe saying like, well, you naturally do this, but this month you really need to grow in terms of listening better and finding those focuses that are a little bit more aligned to not just what you want, but what's the best for all involved type of thing. So whatever resonates to you, wherever you are on this spectrum, I think the outside world is going to be bringing some sort of group dynamic into play and a real emphasis on that lead position. Okay, let's look at where your sort of agenda is going to be coming from. So you've got the energy of the cheetah, which definitely, there's a lot going on here. This is telling me a lot, actually. I think you do have a very single-minded focus and something you're motivated toward. And that is very luminous and is very attractive. So I feel like you're coming in with something, a goal, a focus, something to move toward that will really motivate others through your own motivation and assertion and action. So that's like where you're coming from your energy. But cheetahs are notoriously shy. So there may be something about needing to be like really work on how to incorporate people better, how to get people on board with what you're doing to help the forward motion of things, and to be a little bit more confident and assertive and bold about really communicating and informing about where you're trying to go, because you're going to want to go very quickly. I think you have a lot of drive behind you, and whatever it is that's, that you're going to have drive for, the motor inside of you, you're very lit up, and so you're really like, yeah, and it's sort, and like thinking about these big cats that hunt, big wild cats that hunt, they're not going to set off on that sprint until their target is in their sights, in their crosshairs, and it's the right time and it's safe. Like, these big cats, they're very patient, they're very watchful. So there may be something that you've been stalking, patient around, watching, waiting for that thing to come into focus. And I think it does this month, and you're feeling very driven and very motivated, but the universe is like, you need to inform others, you need to get others on board with this. If you have 3 or even 2 others with you hunting this thing, going after this focus, this goal, the result will be so much better and so much more satisfying. It will feel more like this luscious environment coming through in your life versus just this singular waterfall, which is, could still be spectacular, but there's something about all of these channels coming together, flowing into one source, to the thing in the crosshairs, that it just is so much more flourishing and so much more enticing. So yeah, that's where I'm seeing this, is like you're needing, the universe is going to really bring in some collective or group elements that you're going to have some challenges around being more on top of informing and getting other people focusing on the same thing that you're very driven to focus on. But it's a really luminous thing. I don't think there's going to be any problem. It's like, get over any self-consciousness about this and just, rope in the people that come to mind that you're needing to rope in here. Okay, let's look at your sort of divine protection guidance coming in for you in April, which might also give some context to this month. A look at the cats. Does she have no, I thought maybe her headdress had a cat feel to it, but no, she's got 2, I think they're more like leopards though. But 2 big cats again. So brilliant beliefs, luminous life force, personal power. That's exactly what I felt here. There's something very luminous that's giving you a lot of life force and a lot of personal power. And it's magnetic. I think people are really going to, you may not even really have to ask people and bring it up. There might be people just being like, hey, I want to be part of this, or go where you're going. And so just, getting over any shyness about being sort of the leader of the pack here, because people are very attracted to your energy this month is what I'm feeling, because you've got, very luminous thing in your crosshairs that you're motivated to go for, and others are like, hey, count me in, but you need to lead them. Okay. We're going to jump down now to this second row of cards, which is a little bit more about what I call the 4 directionals of life. So the 4 sort of categories that anchor you into life at any given moment, that tend to be our biggest areas of concern. So we're going to look at your personal what's driving you. It might give us a little more context about what's in your crosshairs, what's motivating you. We're going to look at what you are bringing into maturity in your life. So where you need to nurture and nourish things and tend to things, as well as tend to yourself and self-care as well. And then we're going to look at relationship energy and sort of like career and finance type of energy. Okay, so starting with self, the messenger. So there's something, so it gives a little bit of context here. Something's really lighting you up, that you've either gotten a message, like a message came your way that really brought something into focus that you've been trying to figure out how to get into focus, or something kind of coalesces in you that gives you an aha about a message you're wanting to put out into the world. And it could even be both of these things. It might be some kind of information message coming your way that aligns your target, and then having the motivation to bring that message outward, to take that message whatever that message brought into focus for you, taking that out into the world with force, with power and brilliance and luminosity. Okay, now let's look at what in your life are you sort of maturing that you need to nourish and nurture. Hence, in what ways do you need to nurture yourself to kind of mirror that? Cleanse. Decluttering and cleaning one's space and life can have such profound effect on one's overall well-being. The only thing needed to receive the new in my life is to make room for its arrival. In what area of my life is there a need for cleansing? Today I will take the time to clean one area of my home that is in need of care. So I think this is so much more broad. It can be like spring cleaning the home, but you could also be needing to clear out, any superficial things you've been dabbling in, psychic debris in your mind. There may even be people around you that you need to clear out. There's something that about really making your spaces clear, clean, removed of dead weight and winter debris that will really help these messages, or the message, to come in, and your aha, your target to really coalesce and have that real direct path of knowing it's like time to go. So there's something about space clearing, cleansing, that will really nourish you, and also allow whatever is coming in to be something that can mature in your life. And this makes a lot of sense for the season we're going into. Being Aries season is the astrological new year, and it is about spring cleaning and lightening up and finding your focus and your path in life. But then even moving into Taurus in the last part of the season, or of April, we have the North Node there with eclipses, which is a rebirth, a 19-year rebirth of that energy, that sign's energy. So, which is like an Aries point. So a lot of energy around, it may be sort of like the first half of the month or the first week or even the first 3 weeks of the month is like clearing that space, but you'll know that moment when things are sort of clear to you and the target comes into focus, because you'll be like, let's go. Okay, let's look at relationships. Ooh, multidimensionality, which makes sense because the universe is saying something about needing to bring maybe a lot of other things and pieces into what you're focusing on. So the frequency of multidimensionality activates our awareness of our true essence, which is eternal and multidimensional. Ooh, actually, I love how that adds to sort of that luminous feeling that I'm sensing around you guys, that I've already talked about it. I think other people are finding very attractive. So there's something opening in you, a lot of different sides of yourself that maybe after a long time of, puzzling out and being patient and working through certain things has now kind of coalesced, and it's like you've taken yourself from like a raw stone to a cut stone that has these beautiful, honed, perfected, shapes and cuts in it that, like a raw diamond to a, I don't know the specific gemology terms, but like a cut diamond. It's like you've refined yourself. You've been patient in doing this, but you've been doing it in a very multi-dimensional way. And all of a sudden it's like, come into its finished form and it's just shining. It's just, luminous and beautiful. And it's very attractive, I think, out in the world. I think a lot of people are seeing this refinement and this beauty you're shining with, and they're like, hey, let me be part of your orbit. Okay, let's look at your outer world position. So career, school, whatever kind of where you hold responsibility in the outer world. And a leg up. Yeah, I think you've done a lot of work this winter. I think you're really, or if you're in the southern hemisphere this summer, there's something coming into northern hemisphere spring, southern hemisphere autumn, where you're just like coming into a certain, just wholeness, luminousness. And it's, it's like I think you've just worked really hard in so many avenues and areas of your life. And I don't think it's just in career or school. I think this is all over your life as a fingerprint of a leg up, of like suddenly everything is clear, it makes sense, you know how to get ahead, where it's taken you maybe a lot longer than other people to get to that point of knowing how to get ahead, but instead of really refining one side of you, you've refined 20 sides of you. And so your moving ahead is really moving ahead and it's giving you a leg up like you haven't experienced in a long time. Really gorgeous. Okay, we are going to pull some tarot cards to get any other context that wants to come through about this. Ooh, that one wanted to come out. Star, you are a star this month. Pile one. Okay. King of Cups. Yeah, emotional authority, command of your emotions, command of knowing how to connect with others. Very healing presence as well, and relieving presence as well. I love this coming under this waterfall picture. Yeah, I feel like your energy, this multidimensionality and this luminosity is actually very soft in some ways as well. It's like commanding and powerful, but soft, just like waterfalls are, you know, that command and energy and force they have. But then when you see the whole picture of all of these, it's like there's something very fluid and gentle and soft at the same time here. Knight of Swords charging forward under the cheetah. So far we haven't added much to what we've already known. Well, Two of Swords and Ace of Swords. Yeah, okay, so that does give a little bit more context, and it does add to that need that we've already seen to clear spaces. But I think this is also clearing your mind, clearing some mental debris, clearing some even tensions you may hold with others, clearing the air. I think there's just like a lot of clearing away you're needing to do to get clear about decisions needing to be made. But then we have the Ace of Swords right after the Two of Swords, which means that as you clear, as you kind of weigh and measure things, well, it's sort of like you clear things away, which makes more space to be able to kind of weigh and measure. And even clearing space is a weighing and measuring of what's worth holding on to, what needs to go, that kind of deliberation. But as you're doing that weighing and measuring and clearing the air and clearing your mind, it really helps you to have a certain sort of stillness and pause and breath that really brings in the focus and the decision you're needing to make. So there is a decision here, adding into everything I've talked about, that will come so much more quickly into focus the more clearing you do and weighing and measuring and deliberating you do. And then it will become clear what your decision is, and that will just ignite everything. But yeah, you are coming into star status here. It's gorgeous. All right, we are just going to leave you with one quick message from the Divine Feather Messenger, a positive message from the universe. Got Canary. I love that yellow coming through for you guys. Step forward now and sing your song. There is power in finding your voice. Yeah, and I felt that with the cheetah. It's a shy animal, but I think you have the power, the luminosity, and the force behind you. You have something in your crosshairs, but you need to voice things. You need to inform people. I think they're already drawn to you, they're already watching, but if you want people involved, you know, you need to inform, you need to ask, you need to speak up. If people are asking to be a part, you need to use your voice and saying yes and no, depending on what feels aligned and right to you, resonant to you. So gorgeous reading. I love this April for you guys. All right, pile one, this is where I'm going to leave you. If this resonated, I always appreciate a thumbs up. Comments are fun to peruse as well, and definitely subscribe if you're not. All right, see you guys. Hello, pile two. Welcome to your April outlook. You guys picked the card Gathering Together, which is the 45th hexagram of the I-Ching, and it is Lake Above, Earth Below. So there's some real similarities to pile one, which was holding together. I think that's what it was. And you're gathering together, but there are some distinctions that make this a little bit different. So for you guys, along with pile one, there is something about collective force happening. But for you, I feel like you're coming into some kind of event that's already going to be in motion. Whereas pile one is sort of like the one initiating a collective direction. I think you're coming into something that where there's already group energy, where there's already like a movement happening or something that's happened that brings people together for a common goal. So this card is representing some sort of outside force for you this month, where you will have opportunities to grow, be challenged and grow, and engage in life through the universe, bringing things to you, bringing events into your orbit. And yeah, so I definitely get the feel that there's some movement, there's some big energy going on that you are going to be drawn into. And there is sort of a thing in this card of really looking for, because when we get kind of mass energies going toward a goal, it can bring really liberating conditions. It can bring relief that's needed, but it can also bring, you know, if there aren't great focuses and leadership and kind of moral expectations brought to the forefront, group energy in like social psychology, when we're moving with a group, it is so much easier for us to make decisions that we wouldn't normally make, that are not always they in the moment, because other people are doing it, may not seem very consequential or extreme, but that actually can be. And if you take yourself out of the moment and say, would I ever do this, you know, on my own, in my, you know, not in this group scenario? And if I did, what kind of consequences would that bring? Just some questions to ask. And sometimes you may just say, well, because of what this goal is, I'm still going to do this. That's fine. You know, sometimes if we're, you know, if there's a movement that's about liberation or bringing attention to something, sometimes we do have to be a little bit more extreme. But just, you know, ask yourself when you engage in things, if this feels luminous to you. There's something about, it's like my new word this past month is luminous. Is this a luminous action and luminous decision within this group context, within this movement of group energy? So for some of you, this may be a very freeing, liberating thing, but sometimes these things that happen that gather people together can be more difficult. Like, no, I'm not saying anyone's gonna have this, but like, you know, like a natural disaster, everyone comes together to save anyone that's needing to be saved, to rebuild, to, you know, like, so there's a lot of different ways this, and I doubt any of you are going to go through that. These are extreme examples, like huge riots and movements and, you know, natural disasters. I'm sure it will be much more subtle for all of you. But just notice if there's something that the universe is trying to get you to kind of direct your flow of energy into, around collective effort, around bringing group energy into focus to really get something done, and how to do that in a really beautiful way. And for what you're finding, you know, what the goal is, what the result you're looking for is, how does that bring help or better conditions, or more fruitfulness, or, you know, whatever it is, how does that result that's being moved towards benefit that collective, that gathering of people? So yeah, just some things to be aware of, but it can be very, you know, in some circumstances, it can be very exciting energy and something that feels like you're, you know, liberating something, bringing some much better ideals into the world. Okay, let's look at where your agenda is coming into April. And so how, you know, looking at how these might work together then. Ooh, beautiful spider. You are really coming into April with an energy of knowing how to take the different threads of life and how to weave them and hold things together. So you could really be stepping into some kind of leader role or counselor type of, like, yeah, I mean, spiders tend to be a little bit more hidden, and I'm getting the sense of like the power behind the throne, the counselor that actually is the smart one in the scenario versus the leader. Like sometimes leaders have that command and bravery and magnetism. I'm not saying you don't have that, but sometimes they don't actually have all of the intelligence needed for, you know, and that's where advisors and counselors are the ones that actually have the smarts, but they're much more focused in sort of the details and the investigation and the bringing all the pieces together. And I feel like this month, for this circumstance, I'm not saying you don't have leader potential. I just see whatever's coming in and where you are right now, that's sort of how you plug in. There's something where you're really going to have the capacity to see, you know, be able to see how all of the pieces are coming together to create sort of like a whole narrative of what's going on, or how to bring all the pieces together to bring everything together and work more functionally. But you're sort of like the smarts. You have the smarts coming into whatever the universe is bringing forward to really know how to keep things together, to keep things focused, to bring the right things together in the right ways at the right time. Yeah, so really, really intelligent, really dynamic, really beautiful artistry in your energy and knowing how to come into what the universe is bringing into focus. Okay, let's now look at your Priestess of Light, which is showing what kind of protection and guidance wants to come in for you for April, which might shed a little bit more light and context onto this. Ooh, precognition, psychic ability, future vision. Yeah, so whatever is happening, whatever is bringing people together, and your ability to really kind of weave in the right things and tell the right stories and bring the right pieces together. I think what's giving you this ability and this intelligence is this ability to see where things can go, what is possible, what the ideals of the target are, and really bringing light and hope and vision and inspiration to that. I definitely feel like a storyteller capacity here, really being able to kind of weave a narrative of the trajectory that can come in, hence how to envision things and bring new ideals. Yeah, it's like really, really complex, really intelligent, really beautiful of gifts you're bringing to whatever the universe is putting in your orbit. Okay, we are going to move to this bottom row now, which is more about looking at your 4 anchor points, your 4 directionals in life. So we're going to look at what's driving you and motivating you, where life is coming into maturity, so how to nurture yourself and life, relationships, and then outer world things, responsibilities, positions such as career, school, whatever it is that you are holding sort of outer world pressure in at the moment. Okay, your energy, where is your drive and motivation coming from? Yeah, beautiful. Slow down. I love that. What's driving you is this ability, is like you knowing how to remain calm and present in big energy, which is what is giving you that ability to see all of the threads and all of the pieces and what could be. It's like that calm in the center of the storm. You can see in all of the directions because of that calmness. And I love the spider sitting in the center of its web. That's how I'm seeing your energy. You're in the center. You're in the center of things. You can really see all of the directions, all of the things going on. Hence, really knowing what step to take next at any given point, as well as like that long-term trajectory. I'm still not getting like leader vibes, but this is giving a little bit more to me around like an inspiring figure. It's like the preacher or storyteller or someone that brings a new hope in. They may not be leading the crowd, but they bring in like a message or something. Yeah, it's like a little bit more mystical and mysterious here. But it's like, yeah, you're very calm in whatever this big energy is. And I think people will really be inspired by what you have to offer and say, and by inspiration you may offer as well. Okay, let's look at ways in which you should be nourishing both yourself and your life to really help certain things find fruitfulness and maturity. Abundant. So this definitely indicates to me that you've already been doing a lot of work about maturing certain things in you and in life, and so it's like your harvest has come in. And so the ways in which you're needing to tend to life is by harvesting. When abundance comes in, when a harvest comes in, you have to do a lot of work to bring it in, separate wheat from chaff, prepare it for however it's going to be used or stored, all that kind of stuff. So abundance is beautiful, but it does bring in work into your life. Okay, so abundant. I am connected to the endless abundance that life offers. I trust that the universe is plentiful and desires to flow in and through my life. I understand that scarcity is merely an illusion, and that any sense of lack is an invitation to deepen my appreciation. I acknowledge the beauty currently surrounding me and allow abundance to be cultivated from the inside out. Yeah, I think you just are very connected, which is another thing that's placing you in the center and in a calmness when other people may be sort of like panicking or overly excited or something. It's sort of like you have this deep connection to, because you can be calm and really stay in that center of things and see in all the different directions, that despite appearances at any given time, there's so many options and directions and keys and things that can be weaved in that provides endless opportunity, endless potential, endless creativity. And I love that word creativity. I think you're really sitting in the essence of that coming into April, which that creativity really knows how to see that that creative force, that abundance can come from anywhere in unexpected places, in expected places, like it's a dynamic thing to you, and it makes you, this is something that's coming into maturity in you. So nurture that energy that I think is already kind of fruitful for you. Work to share it, work to harvest that kind of centering you have and utilize it. And I think because when you come from an abundance place, you can be more generous too. So I think sharing of your generosity will be a really nourishing thing for you, as well as feeding in that belief you have of abundance and nourishing that energy within you as well. Okay, looking at relationships, transformation. The energy of transformation supports our ability to gracefully flow through times of transition, allowing the old to make room for the new. Interesting. So some of this big energy coming in this month may be in relationship to relationships. There may be a specific relationship that is transitioning in some way. You may be finding personal transformation through the way you are relating with others. A relationship may come in that brings a transformation in your life, but there's something through relationships this month that is transformative, whether the relationship itself transforms, whether the outer world circumstances are forcing transitions to be made, or whether something or someone comes in that transforms you through that kind of relationship it brought to you. So yeah, expect the way you're resonating in life to go through a big transformation, a transition. Beautiful. Usually transformations come, they can feel like something's breaking apart, but they always rebuild in a more empowered way. Okay, now let's look at outer world position. So career, school, whatever it is that you're doing in the outer world that holds kind of responsibility and pressure. The fates, which ties in totally to that feeling I have that like something is going on that's really going to be pulling your and a lot of people around you energy and attention into. I think fate is at play, and there's something around what you do in the world that maybe this revolves around. Maybe it's through school that you get pulled into some group thing, some collective thing, or maybe the way or the industry you work in will go through a big collective something, or maybe something you do is something that can really contribute to something big going on in your community or in the world, whatever it is. But there is some kind of fate at play that your place in the world is, something, meant to be part of. Interesting. Okay, we are going to pull some tarot cards to get a little bit more context about all of this. Okay. Wheel of Fortune. Wow, yeah, something big is shifting. I feel like whatever you're weaving, whatever the world kind of pulls you into, one or the other or both as they involve each other is shifting something in your life to a different chapter coming in. 10 of Pentacles, connected to that abundance. It's like you may start to see the way in which you weave your creative, the way in which you're creative, the way in which you weave, it may suddenly, whatever's shifting, whatever you get pulled into, the timing is coming up that's helping you to see much more clearly the contribution you have in the world or can bring into the world. It's like your purpose is really, really coming into its center. And that sense of abundance we've already talked about is really going to start to, I don't know why I'm getting the sense that like maybe you are connected to that sense of abundance, but it's always been in specific ways, and you've been trying to make that bleed into other areas of life, especially maybe financially. And it's like that something shifts that makes the timing right to now take that sense of abundance and be able to move it more materially in the world. Yeah, very cool. The Lovers. I think you're going to be busy this month. That spider energy, even though there's like that sense of being kind of the calm in the center of the storm, you're still like keeping track of all of the threads, bringing all the things together. So it indicates to me that there is frenetic energy around you. And I think it's going to be pleasing to you. I think you're going to enjoy it. But you're still going to need to kind of remain centered and calm and present as all of this frenetic stuff kind of, orbits around you. But this is like saying have fun with it, which is a beautiful thing to see. It makes me feel like it's less on the natural disaster side. There's something maybe more fun, lighthearted about all of this, at least for a lot of you. Three of Swords. Let me get the last one before I go into that. It's interesting. I'm seeing like the hummingbird here and the bat there. Such a different energy. It's like two sides of you at play. Three of Cups. Beautiful. Yeah, I think there's this whatever's going on within you and around you is touching into so much. This feels like the highs and lows. This is bringing together. This is helping you weave together in your own creative depth and understanding of life all of your experiences from the depths of grief and tragedy and heartbreak to the heights of new love and flirtation and beauty. You're going to be able to span from the highest heights to the lowest lows of what you've experienced in life, to bring things together, to know how to see all of the angles, all of the potentials in a really kind of empathetic, I should say, beautiful, centering, inspiring, visionary. Yeah, it's just like whatever you're bringing to the table is just, it's showing off all of your colors, all the spectrum of what you've experienced, knowing how to pull all aspects of yourself together. And you're really finding your community as well here. There's something that will really bring some soul tribe, some community that feels very soul aligned, and supportive and beautiful into focus, or as at least important. Maybe it's people you already know and feel this way about, or new people, but I feel like whatever experiences are going on this month, it's just like really pulling that together, that into focus in a new way with new depth, which it could be new people, it could be people already here, it could be a combination, but it's really deepening something about your support systems and those you consider kind of soul tribe. Really gorgeous. Okay, we're going to end your reading with a divine feather message. So just a light, very positive, uplifting message from Spirit. Blue Jay. The time is right to assess and master your abilities. Do so with humility and control. Yeah. Your spiderness is really coming into its own and shining and important and finding its purpose and its centering. And yeah, I think the universe is bringing circumstances that are really pulling that out of you, making it more visible and timing. It's like the stars are aligning for whatever concoctions of things you're made of, experiences you've been through, what's made you who you are now, to be just right for how the stars are aligning right now. It's like opening the gates to like who and what you are and do, and your essence being much more important to the time. Yeah. Okay, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. Beautiful April. If this resonated, I always appreciate a thumbs up. Little comments are fun to peruse as well. And definitely subscribe if you're not already. All right, see you guys. Hello, welcome to your reading pile 3. You guys picked this Pushing Upward card. It's the 46th hexagram of the I-Ching, Earth above, wind below. So this card in your reading is representing sort of the agenda that the universe has for you in April. So what kind of outside events may come your way, what kind of growth and openings and opportunities and challenges does the universe sort of want you to be involved in this month in April. So Pushing Up is a really beautiful card, and I've been so amazed at how aligned so far all of these environment cards or outside influence cards have been aligned with the season that we are pushing into right now, which is spring. So this is all about that seed having, burst from its shell underground and really finding those impulses and that warming soil and really getting oriented to where the warmth is coming from, so what direction to go in. And so like really coming into that focus of where the unobstructed path is to kind of arise and surface into something. So where there are growth opportunities, where there's promotion, where there's, coming from that incubation state into sort of a rebirth or a birth into something. So it's really beautiful energy that coming upward can be sort of hold a lot of anticipatory sort of energy. So moments of sort of impatience. And in the book, there was one line I actually just wanted to read to you because it was such a beautiful sentence, and it just felt perfect for this energy. And so I just, even though I don't usually read the book for these, I just want to read you this sentence. So willpower and self-control are necessary to manage growth properly, but an inner enthusiasm for life is what drives it. So it feels like whatever the universe is putting into your orbit, bringing from the outside environment into your world, your life, your awareness, has sort of an enthusiasm tone underneath it that I think will be feel positive to connect with. It'll feel positive to have whatever comes into your orbit come into your orbit. It will really show you ways and directions in which to grow, and in which to find the light, find a rebirth moment, and find sort of, an enthusiasm. But it's saying keep your willpower, keep your focus and self-control here, but stay plugged into that enthusiasm. Something's really about to burst from underneath into the world, from you through what the universe is kind of putting in your path. Okay, we're now going to look at where your agenda is coming into April, and so how these might be able to work together. Ooh, the snake. I love this because the snake in a lot of ways is sort of like that Kundalini energy, like an awakening. So I do get the sense that maybe you've been very slow, which would make sense coming, at least if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, coming from winter where things are a little bit more hibernating. But it's like shedding a skin as the snake does, and finding that Kundalini awakening, that thing that opens you up, that gets your life force flowing. And when if you think about the chakra system going from the root up to the crown, it is from the roots up into that more universal space. So something in you is finding that thing that takes you from being kind of coiled up and inside, into shedding a skin and awakening and really getting your life force flowing and in motion. So it's a really positive link here. It's so often that you see reflection here because, our inner world and our outer world tend to kind of attract and draw each other in. So it feels very correlated here that your inner world of like wanting to connect to life force awakening is attracting things from the outside world that are giving you that environment and possibilities and events that foster that. Okay, we are now going to look at more of like a spiritual guidance and protection that wants to come in for you for April, which might give us a little bit more context for the happenings of the month. We've got sacred breath and sound, life force, communication. Oh, that's hilarious. Life force. Your life force is waking up. It makes perfect sense with spring, Aries season, which is a good chunk of April, is all about that awakening and beautiful. So some other things I can see is some guidance from spirit and some protection from spirit through engaging in maybe some breath work. And then when I think about sound, like playing music, going to sound baths, if that's something that's available to you, or just listening, like if you go on walks or jogs, something that does get you just sort of using your lungs and breathing fresh air, listening to the sounds of nature as you go. And I think about communion along with communication, that communion with sound and breath and nature, and noticing. I take my dogs every morning, first thing in the morning, on walks, and I live in a place that experiences the four seasons very distinctly, and we've had a very late sort of spring. It's still, it snowed where I am yesterday. I'm doing this reading like 2 days after spring equinox. But despite that little snowfall that we had, I noticed the very first couple, it was so amazing. It was on spring equinox or the day after, like right on target with that equinox moment. I saw the very outwalking, the very first few, just I only saw a couple on 1 yard, very few first flowers. It's like just the tip of their head starting to poke out. They weren't out yet. And I was like, oh, look at that. I bet in a couple days that will be like a snowdrop flower or something. So I feel like, you know, you pay attention to nature and you mirror it. And as nature is pushing up from the ground and new colors are coming to life, it incites us to do that same thing. So I feel like being in communion and communication with whatever nature is doing around you, something about that I think is going to tap you into your life force, tap you into growth, really align you with like a rebirth moment. Yeah, beautiful. It just feels very invigorating and fresh. Yeah, I love this energy I'm feeling for you guys. Okay, we're going to move to this second row, and this is all about the 4 directionals or anchor points in life, as I like to call them. So we're going to look at what's motivating you, how to nurture yourself this season, which relates to where we are maturing life and ourselves. We're going to look at relationships and then outer world responsibilities. So whether that's career, school, work, whatever it is for you, what's happening in your more outer world responsibilities. So starting with that sense of self and what is driving you, transformation. And the snake, it's all about that transformation, shedding the skin, awakening, out with the old, so clearing spaces, spring cleaning, really, you know, any dead weight, anything that is in the way of your life force feeling vital, feeling enthusiastic. It's time to kind of, and a lot of time, you know, like transformation, I always think of it kind of wreaks havoc at first. And so I think of like, even if you're like spring cleaning a closet, sometimes you have to tear it all apart and just put back the things that you want. Like it makes a mess at first, but then as you are out with all the dead weight, the stuff that's no longer really being useful and just taking up space, it's like it just makes things more spacious and airy and alive and vital. And so I have that feeling for you that you're probably going through this sort of whirlwind. There's something motivated in you to kind of just tear things apart in order to see what's dead weight and reorder and kind of transform. You know, it can be spaces in your home, spaces in your office. It can be mental weight, it can be relational tensions, anything that you need to kind of tear apart in order to see what's debris and what's actually empowering for you and illuminated for you. Keeping those and, you know, out with the old kind of thing. Shedding some skins, clearing the leaves from the surface of things so that new life can come up, that kind of stuff. Okay, let's see what is kind of maturing in you. So how you can nurture yourself to help that maturity come in. Intuition, that's beautiful. And I would imagine like coming from that underneath place, from that coil at the base of the chakra system, at the root chakra where you're coiled up, probably takes an intuitive sense to know that right moment to awaken. I am connected to and honor my intuition. My intuition is my greatest ally and my body is her temple. I am my greatest teacher. I am safe when I trust my own knowing. I trust that my body is full of wisdom and I choose to lean into her gentle inclinations. And I feel like so much physical language has come up so far in this reading, like getting out and breathing, moving, using your lungs, being out in nature. There's something about body here, and this intuition, interestingly, kept repeating body. And I get that, you know, I don't know if I already said it, sorry if I'm repeating, but most of April, a good chunk of April is Aries season, which is all about that kind of physical connection to life. And it has a deep instinct because it's so in touch with its clarity and center. So intuition in this sense to me and what's maturing in you feels a little bit more along the line of instinct, of just these knowings of how to when and where and how to be impulsive, what to move toward, what feels right to you. It's like this body knowing, which to me is a little bit more instinctual, but also an intuition, you know, for sure. Intuitive knowings, intuitive finding of what is making you enthusiastic, what would bring you enthusiasm and growth. Connect to that as well. Okay, let's look at relational energy. 8, abundance. Beautiful. The energy of abundance activates our ability to manifest the wealth we need and the sense of fulfillment that comes from a heart and soul that are overflowing with love and gratitude. So that's beautiful. Relationships in your life could feel like they're really flourishing in April. People you have relationships with may prove to be very beneficial and having a lot to give you and offer you, an overflow that they're experiencing that would naturally feel right to let that overflow go towards you. So opening yourself up to a sense of love and gratitude to those you're in relationship with would definitely help them already have you in their focus with their overflows of, like, you know, when we make other people feel good and have really positive heart opening with others, it tends to flow back that way too. So whatever you have that feels loving and grateful and abundant to give in return or in initiation, you know, let that go both ways as well. Okay, now let's look at outer world, so career, school, whatever it is. Loyal heart. Beautiful. And we have the owl here too. So intuition, there is sort of like a knowing. It's like inner knowings coming through. And then I love the heart, like loyal heart makes me feel like something with relationships too. Maybe some of that relational abundance could be something that benefits your place in the world, your responsibilities in the world as well. Or you could be finding a deeper commitment and love of what you're doing in the world, as well as like really trust your intuition in terms of, you know, what your responsibilities in the world are. I feel like there's like just inner knowings coming to you. Maybe because of how devoted and loyal you've been to what you're doing, it's like just this wise essence, this intuitive knowing of what to do, where to go, how to, you know, this did talk about promotions, like maybe there's a loyalty you've had in what you're doing that now the timing is right for that to deserve and be seen as deserving promotion. And there's keys here. You have keys in what you're doing and you're being given keys. You know, I see 2 keys here. I think you have certain keys that are needed right now in what you're doing. And I think because of that, you're being given other keys as well to things you haven't had keys to yet. And then 35 adds up to 8 again. So we have 8 twice here. So a lot of this feels very connected to, so professional or schooling relationships, because these feel feel very linked and very positive, and like there's some strong allies behind you too. And we see that double thing here. I think there's a very strong ally, strong recognition, like attracting like. Authorities are seeing you as equal now, being welcomed into the pool of being an authority, recognized as an authority by authorities. Beautiful. Love this. Okay, we are going to look at some tarot cards now to get a little bit more context around all of this. Ooh, Eight of Swords. Yeah, I think you've been in deep hibernation, not really knowing how to grow. That seed phase of breaking out of the seed shell can be really painful and really confusing about where do I go? It's still cold winter. I can't tell where the heat source is. I can't tell the direction to go in. I feel stuck. I feel trapped under this soil that's like packed and pressured, and I've broken out of something, but I have no clue what I'm supposed to do now, kind of thing. That's the sense I'm getting. You've been coiled up like the snake at the base of your energy. Nine of Pentacles. Ooh, I have a thought about that. I'm going to get a couple more out though. The Fool. Yeah. Oh, totally. The Devil. Okay. Okay, one more card. Two of Pentacles. Beautiful. Yeah, there's just one warning in here, but the rest feels really beautiful. Yeah, so like I said, I think you've been sort of coiled and like angsty, like I know it's time for me to grow somewhere, but I don't know how or where, and I'm just gonna pause for a minute in this coil, kind of hibernated, even though I've cracked open in some ways. But now this month you're moving out of that, up, energy awakening, life force coming. This is disappearing. You know what to do, how to move forward. So that's some baggage. We talked about kind of cleaning in order to transform, cleaning that baggage, debris, the weight of winter away. I think that's what you're coming into the month with, needing to kind of clear some of that stuff around you and in you away so that you can connect to that impulse that's being felt, that enthusiasm for knowing exactly where to grow, where the unobstructed path is. And the Nine of Pentacles coming in, as we saw with that kind of outer world position card about being recognized as an authority. Adding to that, I think you're also knowing your own value in a way that gives you some sovereignty. So it might be like being able to work for yourself or work in a very independent way, even if you're working for others, and really finding kind of the energy and the color and the vitality and the right direction of how to do that in a financially beneficial way, and just like a lot of new color and energy coming in here. I love this kind of canary-ish yellow bird and these beautiful flowers blooming. It's just sort of like, yeah, I think you know the worth of the work you do, the worth of your authority, and how to grow into that in a much more material, sovereign way now. And something new coming through here. Take the leap. And this is the leap of like that knowing, when you know that unobstructed path and the right way to grow towards, which way is up, which way is the surface. As soon as you get that impulse, it's like, take that leap. It's going to feel, in this Fool card in particular, it just feels like she's feeling it. Like use that intuition, that instinct when you have that impulse. Stay connected to that breath, the sound, your senses are really important here. Your body, very important here. And then the dove here is like connected to your heart as well. Take the leap, but be very connected in that too. And I think about the snake, it does have to really rely on, you know, it's very close to the ground. It's very instinctual because it's so close to the ground. It really has to rely on its senses. And there's something here about that of like when you know the place to leap toward, just really stay connected to body and senses as giving you the right intuition and instincts to grow in the right way. And then devil, that's the only warning I want to bring up here is I think you're getting attention, like we talked about with the career school type card. I think you're being seen now by authorities as an authority. And I think this is going to bring in new either opportunities or new financial potentials, different things that you need to stay connected to your intuition of what is actually right for me, because you might be getting, you know, just like a lot of new keys being given to you. And I don't think all of the keys are right. Some of them may really come attached to certain expectations, certain growth that will feel like you're chained, and you want to stay a little bit independent in some way here. So just notice that when you're using your instinct and your intuition about different keys that are being given to you, and whether to take them, accept those keys, feel into like, does this key have baggage associated with it? Does this key have the ability for me to stay a little bit sovereign? Does this key have that feel to it, or does this key feel like it comes attached to things? Does this key feel heavy? Does it feel like it's trapping me in some way? It's going to put me through a door that, you know, may appear on the surface of things very luxurious and important, but really it's kind of trapping me from being as free as I like to be. Those are some questions to ask. And then to give you like a little bit more encouragement of not feeling like you need to take every key or every offer or every opportunity. This Two of Pentacles is showing that plenty of very prestigious things to hold, ways to step into your opportunity are coming. And by the end of this, you're going to have to juggle some things. So you might as well say no. You can't do it all, so you might as well say some no's to certain things. Be very focused, very sure, because you're going to be juggling some things by the end of this, by the end of April. Or what you engage in April is going to lead to you having to juggle some things and hold a lot of responsibility. So just be sure that what you're taking on are things that you can juggle, are things that feel luminous and beautiful to you, things that make you feel like you're in your originality, that you can maintain your independence. This person feels very fierce and independent and original to me. Both sides of the things that she's juggling, even though they have very different vibrations and feels to them. They're luscious, they're luminous, they're beautiful. She feels confident, she feels comfortable, and she feels free to me. So keep those things in mind. Okay, to end this, I'm just going to leave you with a a divine feather message, a very positive, simple message from Spirit about April for you. This one wants to come out. Condor. Hold the highest vision for your life. Totally. You now possess the ability to move past any hurdles. Yeah, you're moving out of this Eight of Swords. Find your highest vision, but keep connected to that sensual body instinct. Allow your intuition to give you some sight and vision and guidance of what it is you should accept into your life to hold authority and responsibility in, that still give you the space to feel. To me, it's like she has this condor vision of knowing what it is. Even though she's taking on a lot, she still has space. She feels vital. She feels a lot. She doesn't feel exhausted or overwhelmed. It's like she still has space. Even though there's confidence in her and strength in her, it's like I feel like she still has space. She still has energy. She still has a calm and a peace around her. Yeah, channel that. Okay, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. Beautiful April. Gorgeous. All of these so far have been so gorgeous. All right, if this resonated, I always appreciate a thumbs up. Little comments are really fun to peruse as well, and definitely subscribe if you're not. All right, see you guys. Hello, Pile 4. Welcome to your April reading. You guys picked the card Dispersing. It's the 59th hexagram of the I-Ching. Wind above, water below. So this card in your reading is representing sort of the agenda of the universe this month. And so external circumstances and events that may start to come into your orbit. And in a way, it's sort of like what Spirit is wanting you to engage in and work on, what its agenda for you is. And with this card, Dispersing, it makes so much sense for where we are seasonally, at least in the northern hemisphere, moving from winter to spring. This totally has that energy of things that wear down over time. So even, if you think of like the shore of the ocean, the rocks against the shore, they wear down over time, and we get sand where sea and land mix and rock becomes that transitional area of sand. Or thinking about, the ice covering over a lake in the winter, and as the sun starts to grow in duration and power, as we move into spring, it thaws that out and allows things to start running. It dissolves that hardening of things and allows a more fluid state. And in the astrological year, we start with spring and we end with winter, and that's sort of like a journey. And by the time we get to winter, we've endured a lot of battle wounds, and we do tend to naturally kind of close down, go a little bit more into a detachment and isolation. And for some of us, it can be a time where, because of certain battle wounds of the yearly journey, or it might be even a bigger journey for some of you, like our hearts and minds harden a little bit too. But this card is saying that spring is the energy of the universe is coming in, and it's wanting to thaw out certain things in you, starting with mind and moving into heart. And these types of things will likely be somewhat collective in nature. And so when you are presented with certain things, especially that feel bigger than you, whether it is collective things or more spiritual things, approaching them without a lot of ego. So like a lack, you know, like really trying to put away any sort of aggressive or what's the other word I'm thinking of? Like aggressive or dogmatic or kind of argumentative feelings. If you can just sort of open to an experience without needing to do or be or think or feel anything, just opening. Things being brought into your world. And I'm not saying that you are any more hardened or closed up or cold or detached right now than anyone else in the world. I just think that maybe you're someone that mirrors nature quite well. Or for some of you, there may have been some battle wounds that have kind of closed you off a little bit. But as the universe brings in some thawing influences, that it could literally be feeling more sunlight on you, or it could be more spiritual or collective things that come into your orbit that are trying to tease you into being a little bit more open and experiential and flowing with what comes, and not trying to assert any of your hardness towards it. Just allowing it. You don't even have to like be open, just allow it, and suddenly you may find you open and something softens and something thaws in you. And any kind of disunity that you may be feeling right now, the universe is really coming. It really cares about you feeling more connected right now and more open and soft and positive right now. And it really wants to bring in some things to help support this, to help thaw some things out and to help soften some things, and to really help you find more flow and unity in your life. So it's a beautiful energy that the universe is wanting to bring into your orbit. Other things that you can do, if there are pieces in your life that are stagnant, that aren't doing anything, certain relationships, certain things in your business, certain whatever it is, even just spring cleaning items in your home or in your mind that are just sitting there collecting dust. This is also saying like it's time to move any stagnant things out of your life that you really don't feel connected to anymore, that don't give you some enthusiasm. It's amazing how every single pile has had this come up about spring cleaning for this, start of spring energy. It's so timely, and I don't know why it surprises me anymore, these types of things, but yeah, every reading has had that aspect of spring come in. It's like time to spring clean. Out with the old, really. But I do feel like of any of the piles, maybe you've been through certain journeys, whether they be just in the past year or in much longer journeys, that there's something coming in to thaw this in you this April, to really help and try to open you up, to warm you up, to reconnect you with a flow of energy, with a flow of life, with a flow of love and warmth in your life. So that's really, really amazing, beautiful energy for the universe to want to bring you. Okay, so we're now going to look at this card, which is about your agenda. So what's your agenda coming into April? And so how these might be able to work together. What's the energy between them, and how can you kind of bridge them? Ooh, this is perfect. The Panther is all about confronting and facing our shadows, our dark parts. So I think you're coming into the month like ready for this. maybe late in March you were already feeling aspects of this, or like intuitions or bubbles that this might be coming or being felt, and you're like, you know what, yeah, I'm ready, let's face this, let's confront it, let's thaw myself out and face any shadows of why I am a little bit frozen or rigid or cold or closed off or aggressive or whatever it is for you right now. And you're just like, let's bring it, let's look at this. Why am I in this situation? Why do I feel like this? I'm done. And I love that mirroring. And I said in one of the other piles, these two cards mirrored so well that it never surprises me when these two mirror this way, because there is a lot of correspondence of what's going on in our inner world tends to be reflected in the outer world. What's above tends to be reflected below, and vice versa. And I feel this direct thing of like, you're ready to confront it, and so the universe is like, okay, let's go, I'm bringing it, kind of thing. And I feel like this nod of agreement, like, you know it, the universe knows it, you're aware of each other and that response to each other, and it's like, all right, let's go, let's do this. So it feels like a very conscious meeting of energies and calling in of the agenda of the month. Okay, we're now going to look at sort of a spiritual energy that wants to come in and provide some protection and guidance for you in April, which may add even a little bit more context to what we're seeing. Whoa. Pile 2, pile 3, and now you guys have all had a card that's said abundance on it. It's been from different decks, but every single one, fascinating. So abundance, fortune, wealth, plenty. So some spiritual and protective and guiding energy is coming in to make life feel a little bit more abundant, a little bit more fortunate, a little bit more sense of plenty, which would naturally come with things warming up, with heart expanding, with finding a sense of gratitude in life and love in life. Those things tend to be deeply related. So I think the more you thaw out and let life flow, the more a sense of gratitude, abundance, and fortunate things will come in like a very divine way. Maybe you'll be guided towards this. Maybe you'll be protected with it in some way. But really gorgeous, and I love, one of my favorite animals are baby elephants, and we've got 2 baby Ellies here. Oh, can't. They're so cute. If you want to thaw your heart, just watch YouTube videos or Instagram videos, wherever you can find videos of baby elephants. That's going to thaw you out. I don't know, maybe you're not an animal person, but that would do it for me, certainly. Okay, moving on to the second row, we're going to look at what I call the directionals or anchor points of life to see what's going on in your different orientations. So we've got your sense of self, what's motivating you, what's driving you. We've got what's maturing in life. So what can you nurture and nourish to help something come into maturity? And then we're going to look at relational energy, and then outer world, your outer world position energy. So that can be anywhere you're holding responsibility or working on mastery for being engaged in the outer world. So career, schooling, whatever else. Maybe you're, a mom and a housewife, and that comes with its own sets of responsibilities as, creating foundations that support the growth of life, whatever it is for you. So let's start with what is motivating and driving you. Oh, beautiful. Authenticity. This is that panther. It's like, let's get in there. I am not this closed off energy that I'm feeling right now. That's not me. It's not my authenticity, and I need to be rid of this. That's what I'm feeling. Whatever it is, and it may not be all of you. There might just be an aspect of you that's feeling a little cold, a little shut off, and it's like, this is total Panther energy. That's not authentic to me, and I need it to be done, and I feel like you're motivated to get back to your authenticity. That is what the drive is for having this Panther agenda. Okay, let's see what you can do to help mature and nourish things in your life that are coming into that phase. Honor. Who and or what in my life is due honor? What would it look like to give honor to my own life's journey? It is time to reevaluate what I have held in high esteem. Is it time to reevaluate what I have held in high esteem? I take time to honor and recognize my journey and those that have helped me along the way. And I think this is beautiful and a key to something about thawing. I think part of what you need to confront is whatever you feel might be a little bit cold or hardened in you right now. I think something you can do to really move some energy here and find some openness and warmth here is to look back at the whole of whatever that journey that was involved in and look at where you've come, like how much you've grown, what you've learned, and honor certain parts of a past journey that really has contributed to your growth in life, and that's contributed to a sense of maybe authenticity that's even evolved, a sense of even knowing what your authenticity is because of experiences you've been through that may not have been easy. So just like shedding some light on, feeling some warmth for, and confronting some positives of circumstances that maybe didn't result in your ideal result. But nevertheless, held lessons, held growth, held things that have pointed you toward knowing what your actual authenticity was, and how that was maybe being ignored. I feel like that's something you're needing to confront potentially. Okay, let's look at, and so like nourishing this, nurturing it, tending to this, taking time to journal about it, to write about it. What are some nourishing things you can do around this? That's just one thought. Okay, moving on to relational energy for April. Oh, beautiful connection. That's what the universe is wanting. It wants you to feel reconnected. The frequency of connection supports our ability to find alignment and resonance with others, things, and ideas. And I feel like that's part of what talking about the universe bringing circumstances in that want to thaw and warm things. I think it's bringing in potentially new connections or just a new sense of feeling like things that are going to make you feel more connected in life, especially in the relational domain. So whether it's current relationships, new relationships, relationships you haven't, that have been on the back burner, whatever it is, I feel like there's relationship, like the universe is bringing in some relationship dynamics that I think are really going to make you feel new resonances and feel connected to life in a new way. So really pay attention to Any of your one-on-one, this doesn't have to be love relationships or spousal, it can be any one-on-one important relationship to you. So there could be many. And I'm seeing 1-4, which adds up to 5, so that makes me think that there are many. And 1-4 to me is new beginnings, creating like new foundations of connections. So I think there could be new connections coming in for some of you as well that are very foundational, that really, yeah, make you feel solid and supported, and that one sort of enthusiastic and fresh as well. So that's beautiful to see. Okay, this last one is outer world responsibility, so career, school, whatever it is for you. Not for you. This may be where there's something, this may be also a clue to something to confront. And what does that fortune cookie say? It says nope. Wow, this has a lot in here. I feel like this is very much so connected to where some thawing is going on. It could have to do with your career or something with school. I feel like there's been a lot of like chess being played, strategy. It's possible that some of you have really got wrapped up into the game of something versus feeling connected to what you were actually doing. And whatever has happened, I think there were some results maybe you didn't hope for or didn't like, but those results, whatever happened that made you maybe close down a little or feel hardened, happened because there was no authentic alignment with this game that was being played, or this strategy you were entangled in. It feels like a prison to me, a door you were locked behind. And finally your soul was like, nope. None of this is my authenticity. And so I think you're going to get a lot of messages in April about why the nope happened and how that's so much more connected. Not saying, there could have been things, because with chess you're kind of playing against others. If this resonates for you anyway, there could have been things and strategies others did that were a little bit shady or manipulative, and I'm not saying it's like that's okay that happened, but I'm also pointing out that sometimes those things, sometimes the outside world shuts down paths for us because we're just not aligned. It's just out of alignment. So it's not saying anything that happened that was shitty, frankly, from the outside was okay, but it is saying in another way, these things sort of had openings to happen because you were out of alignment with your soul, with your authenticity. And so something about that also needs to be confronted about. Don't waste your time thinking about the past and the game. Spend time on connecting to what is authentic going forward, and how can you feel more warmth, flow, and abundance and fortunate circumstances around that. How can you get green lights for what is authentic to you and really connect to it, move it forward, honor that as well. There's certainly things from past cycles in work, school, career, whatever, that have given you likely really aligned, beautiful skills and capacities and, whatever, that you can retool and put into your more authentic, aligned path. Okay, last thing we're going to do is, we haven't done tarot. We're going to pull a few tarot cards to get a little more context about all of this. out. Yeah, oof. Definitely been involved in some chess. Okay. Oh, yeah. I don't doubt some of you are needing some thawing out. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Right, okay. Yes, I feel like you've been at war. Whether it's at war with, it might be dimensions of war. You've been at war with yourself, you've been at war with others. You may feel a bit fragmented right now because of that. You may feel stabbed in, I want to say stabbed in the back, but those swords are going into her face. Very outwardly, like not stabbed in the back, like very forwardly stabbed, like it hurt, like it came straight at you, knowing exactly where it came from. And I think it fragmented you. You need to do some like soul, some like shamanic journeys for soul retrieval and power retrieval, because some of this really hurt. And it's like your power, fragments of your power and fragments of your soul are stuck there, and you need to do some power and soul retrievals. If you don't have access to sort of a shamanic practitioner that can take you on those kinds of journeys, not as great, but I would imagine on YouTube there's shamanic journeys like that. Yeah, there's retrievals you need to do. And it might even be as simple as like intentionally just recalling energy that's stuck certain places, but going into some journeys certainly it does it a little better than just, I don't know, saying I'm retrieving these energies. But there are some energies stuck places you need to work on, some retrievals. And there's something you walked away from. I think it really hurt. That said, connecting with what the universe wants to bring you this month with your own determination to just kind of get in there and confront it. Oh, and the Panther is super connected to shaman energy. I really think you guys need to find a shamanic practitioner. But anyway, that may not align for you, and that's fine. But like just confronting things, recalling energy where it's stuck, that kind of stuff. But if you do that work, if you really confront the shadows, the darknesses, where you're hardened, really allow in that thawing that the universe is bringing. Thawing is, I mean, this is just showing that like it's almost inevitable. You're due. The timing is right for your thawing to happen and for you to feel reconnected to your soul and find that power point and that green light of what it is your soul wants for you, hence where to go, and just suddenly then feeling like this overflow of gratitude and emotion for where you are, for what's happened, because it's putting you in such a better, more aligned direction. Yeah. Beautiful. And then this is just showing like new dreams coming to life in you creatively, new energy blossoming around you that's colorful and vital and vibrant. Tap into your dreams. Absolutely. There's a lot of dreams coming in, a lot of inspiration coming in, a lot of really fresh new stuff. And this is saying the Four of Pentacles to me is so much about the thawing. I think there's things about your authenticity that you've sat on for a long time because you were doing other things, because you were engaged in other ways. And when we sit on our resources and don't use them, they turn bad. They decrease in value. And this is saying it's time. Right now is the time to start putting these aspects of your authenticity into play. They're in a good position. They're strong. They're ready to go. But there is a warning here that if you continue to sit on them out of like a fear for maybe, is it good enough? Is this part of me deserving? Is this whatever it is? It doesn't matter. Use it or lose it is what it's saying right now. This is the time. It's ready to use it or ready to lose it now. So connect to your authenticity, confront whatever the universe brings in front of you to confront, or things you know you need to confront, and really open up to the thawing and the warmth that is coming in from outside of you toward you, that's really trying to help you reconnect with your flow, reconnect with your authenticity, warm up and find gratitude, generosity, hence abundance, and just, fresh life coming. Watch Baby Ellie videos too. Okay, last thing. We're going to pick one last divine feather message card as just like a leaving, a parting, an ending, positive, simple message from Spirit for you for April. This one. Hawk. Pay attention. A powerful message is being communicated to you now. Beautiful. And hawks are good at seeing the big picture and the details. The way their eyes work is they can, go up high and see the big picture of things, but they can also really hone in and focus and target and find those small field mice and dive bomb and get them. So I feel like this is saying take in the view, look at the big pictures of things. And when you find those things to focus on, go for them, or allow messages to come into you in that way. Sort of stay open and aware of messages kind of dive bombing you. That's sort of how it feels. That are very visionary too. So, and maybe some of them are coming from relationships. We saw that relationships were a beautiful connective area for you in April. Okay, this is where we are going to leave your reading, pile 4. Beautiful April. I'm really, really happy for this thawing and warming that's coming your way. And I think you're really due to be, to feel kind of that embrace of the universe and a more connected, unified sense of life starting to flow from you. So gorgeous. I'm really happy for you. So this is where I'm going to leave you. If this resonated, I always appreciate a thumbs up. It's a very simple way to let me know if you're liking readings I'm doing, which readings you're liking, and it also helps my algorithm. And definitely it's fun to peruse little comments if there's something you want to say. Always appreciate more positive comments. And definitely subscribe if you're not. All right, see you guys.